Lil Jeff's killer has been branded the Defensive Player of the Year for standing up for his hood, but after the gruesome murder, Trap City Rob took it even further by mocking the Bloodhounds with disturbing footage. This was right after he and his crew showed the world how Lil Jeff grumbled on his front porch. In another recent footage sent to the Bloodhounds, the Trap City crew hints that there may be more coming as they remind their ops just how hard they have fallen. So what happens next? Do the Bloodhounds answer with a bloodbath, or does Trap City shut them down before they even get the chance? Let's get into it. Trap City Rob sends disturbing footage to the Bloodhounds. Lil Jeff's death changed a lot of people's lives, especially those of his family and friends. But it wasn't just his loved ones who were impacted by the death of the Chicago drill rapper. Trap City Rob, the man who many believe killed Lil Jeff, is one of those people who has seen his life dramatically altered since the untimely demise of Lil Jeff. From obscurity, Trap City Rob became an instant celebrity with a section of Chicago drill rap fans who continue to edge him on as the bloody rivalry between Trap City Gang and Lil Jeff's Bloodhounds intensifies. So, while Rob initially appeared to want nothing to do with the whole Lil Jeff murder situation, in recent months, he has gone on the offensive and even dissed Lil Jeff and the Bloodhounds in a video that was posted to Reddit in February 2025. In the video, Rob can be seen donning a black customized iTrap t-shirt in what appears to be a recording studio. As the beat comes up, Rob starts by sounding off warning shots to his ops. He spits, "Riding through the 6, you'll get your flipped, shooting all the passengers and fuck up your whip." As the video progresses, things get more personal as Rob takes a direct swipe at Lil Jeff and the Bloodhounds without mentioning any names. He raps, "Don't fall, you better not slip. These talking about sliding, I just watched him slip. This is not a game. Better get a grip before we put your up in the sky just like a blimp." Unsurprisingly, Rob's referencing of Lil Jeff's death in his diss track sent the internet into a frenzy, with many Reddit users hitting the comment section to share their thoughts. Most of the fans praised Rob's delivery in the short clip and wondered why they only got to see this version of Rob after he got locked up. One comment read, "Why he's sliding on this beat like that? Where was this Rob before he got locked?" Another user queried, "Why Unc ain't dropped this?" To which one person responded, "He did the song is on UNC City Trap Gang. It's called Riding Through the 6th. Trap City Rob's diss video continues a pattern of social media attacks from Trap City members targeting Lil Jeff and the Bloodhounds. The late rapper was one of the most feared Bloodhounds and carried out several successful hits on Trap City gang members while he was alive. Typically, after carrying out those hits, Jeff would then proceed to brag about the murders and troll Trap City. So it isn't surprising that Trap City members have been mocking the Bloodhounds over his death at every turn. In fact, shortly after Lil Jeff was confirmed dead, Trap City registered their intent to get back at their ops when a video surfaced online showing several of their members mocking Lil Jeff by recreating how he was killed in the same building where the murder happened. In the video, Trap City Rob, as well as other Trap City members, can be seen hanging out on the street while debating whether they should go to the house where Lil Jeff was killed. One person can then be heard asking, "Why y'all don't want to go to the porch?" before the group heads over to the location. And that's when all the trolling begins. Trap City Taro kickstarts the trolling by mimicking the way Jeff ran towards the building before he was shot. Moments later, another Trap City member provides a more accurate demonstration of Jeff's murder when he runs up to the building before collapsing to the floor like he's been struck by a bullet. As he ran to the building, he mockingly said, "Look what he did! Look what he did!" His performance was met by a chorus of laughter from the crowd as they mocked the death of one of their fiercest rivals. Still not satisfied, Trap City Taro took things to a whole new level when he released a diss track, No Diss, in which he mentions Bloodhound Lil Jeff, Bloodhound Q50, Bloodhound Vert, and Z Money, Lil Jeff's cousin whose death sparked the beef between Trap City and the Bloodhounds. In the video, Taro spits, "I ain't dissing but if I diss is to end Jeffy man. Take that Q50 off that Infinity and his ass can't even spin." See, Money was the first, but like the curse, I'm tied his hands. They did him bogus, didn't even tell his mama they pushed him out the van. As the video progresses, Taro raps about how he and Bloodhound Vert used to be cool before he proceeds to unleash more venom on Q50. He rapped, "I had love for Vert, but Vert did it the worst. He steady bringing issues. These steady playing with us like we ain't show you Q50 want to keep running his mouth like men folks ain't get up with him. He got hit up 10 plus times and made it off the hospital. Jumped off the porch at 19. These ain't official." The video was shared on Reddit, and it quickly caught the attention of fans, with many flooding the comments with special praise for Taro's rap skills. One user wrote, "Taro go hard did. He needs to start adding Trap City to his name though, I think." Another person commented, "I like Taro a lot. I recently just found his music, and his melodic is way better. This tough though. I just hope he stay out the way cause he got a different message in his music." Even fans from the other side had no option but to admire Taro's talent. One of them said, "I f***s with Jeff heavy, but Taro holding down for Trap City. A fourth person chimed in, "Can't hate Taro, he actually know how to rap beef. He talking crazy on songs." Trap City Taro calling out the Bloodhounds in his diss track has no doubt added another layer of toxicity to the ongoing street rivalry, which many believed would simmer down following the death of Lil Jeff, who was one of the main actors. The rapper met his untimely death on June 8, 2024, and surveillance footage showing how it all went down later surfaced online. In one of the videos shared to social media, Lil Jeff can be seen chasing after and shooting at a man wearing yellow shorts. According to the police scanner reports, the man was struck on the chest, but he still manages to run into a nearby building with Lil Jeff hot on his heels while still shooting at him. But just as Lil Jeff is about to enter the building, someone fires multiple gunshots at Jeff from inside the building that send him crashing down the steps and onto the front porch. According to an eyewitness, the shooter then stands over Lil Jeff and empties a whole magazine into him at point-blank range. Meanwhile, the second clip shared on social media covers a different angle of the shooting and shows two of Lil Jeff's homies engaging the shooter in a brief gun batter before they ultimately beat a hasty retreat and flee the scene once they realize it was too late to save Lil Jeff. Days after the shooting, fans on Reddit identified Trap City Rob as Lil Jeff's killer after an old video showing him outside the building where Jeff was killed resurfaced online. Rob would later confirm that the building belonged to his grandmother, making it all the more likely that he was the one who shot at Lil Jeff from inside the building. Rob immediately became the toast of the internet, with Reddit users playfully crowning him the Defensive Player of the Year during a mock award ceremony titled Cheericology Awards Show 24. The Reddit users revealed that the rapper had earned the award because he defended his territory and homie from Lil Jeff. Despite being thrust into the spotlight and dubbed a hero, Rob preferred to distance himself from the murder and even outrightly denied killing Jeff in some interviews. Specifically, during an interview on DJU TV in late 2024, Rob was asked how he felt about all the attention he had been getting after some fans began spreading rumors that he was Lil Jeff's killer, and he answered saying,
"I just feel like they bogus, man. Whoever started that, man, please stop doing stuff like that. Like, for real, it's like real life, though, you know? So it's not no video game. It's not no movie. You know what I'm saying? It's reality, so."
Yeah.
Despite publicly dissociating himself from the murder, Rob was arrested around November 2024 and charged with Lil Jeff's murder. In the court documents for Rob's arrest, the Chicago Police Department claimed that there was probable cause for Rob's arrest, in that he was identified on scene by a witness to be present during the shooting death of victim Jeffrey L. Harris, as well as electronic surveillance. Interestingly, the murder charges were later dropped, and Ron was hit with a new charge of unlawful possession of a firearm. Police revealed that although they had identified Rob to be present in the murder scene, they didn't have enough evidence to prove that he was the actual shooter. As of January 2025, Rob was still being held in custody, and there is currently nothing online that suggests when he would be released. However, this has done little to appease the Bloodhounds, who are still looking to slide for Lil Jeff, with the late rapper's father even sounding out a warning to Trap City to clear the streets because the war was far from over. The street feud that unalived Lil Jeff. Being familiar with the Chicago drill rap scene would mean being familiar with the events that have plagued the streets for the past few years. This is because the younger rappers of the drill music scene are neck deep into street gang rivalries, and shockingly, no matter how many of them die, it does nothing to make them give it up. Instead, there's an intense desire from the rival gangs to go on a revenge mission, leading to more loss of lives, destruction of public properties, and violence on the streets. One of such scenario played out in the reality of Lil Jeff. This deadly rivalry between Chicago's most feared street gangs, Drill City and Trap City, had Lil Jeff as the forerunner. Interestingly, even after the downfall of Lil Jeff, the beef he sowed has continued with different factions gunning for revenge. The tragedy in all of this is that promising young men die, leaving behind families, including little children. Let's take a pause on the killings for now and zoom in on the origin of the beef between two of Chicago's deadly groups. The Drill City gang is a group that metamorphosed into the Bloodhounds. Although they still maintain their name, the gang is sometimes called Bloodhounds. Their location is mainly in Chicago. They lord over 79th Street and Maryland Avenue. Through the years and through changed leaderships, their agendas have evolved into violent crimes involving robbery attacks and shootings. Amid the severity of the nature of these crimes, their gang members now talk about it in their songs. While the group threatens the security of lives and properties, they have also managed to make some enemies for themselves, all thanks to their personal beef. As it stands, two of the Bloodhounds' most notable enemies and gang rivals are the BKN and Trap City. Let's take a glimpse at Trap City, as the street feud that unalived Lil Jeff is between Trap City and the Bloodhounds. Like their rival, Trap City is also feared throughout Chicago. This group is a subset of Gangster Disciples, and their base is primarily between 67th to 69th St. Lawrence to Cottage Grove. Despite their rivalry with the Bloodhounds, Trap City appears to have an overwhelming group of allies, including the CW Bass. In fact, this closeness to the CW Bass has made them a more feared and notorious gang. It's funny that Trap City and the Bloodhounds turned into arch enemies because they were once under the same faction. Originally, the Bloodhounds umbrella covered these three gangs, including Drill City, 400 East, and Trap City. Gang splits are expected, and nothing surprising, but what makes the rivalry between Trap City and the Bloodhounds almost laughable is that their beef was over a chain. Prior to this almost senseless beef, the groups were close-knit that it was almost impossible to say which member belonged to which group during hangouts. Trap City. Taro had wine and dined with Lil Jeff and his cousin Q50, while Bloodhound Vert was once pictured with Trap City Rob. So it almost makes no sense that these two former alliances couldn't sit down to talk about the chain theft when it happened. Rather, they started dissing each other, while opening the grounds for a string of killings. The rumor of the missing chain creating a missing link between these groups was confirmed in 2024 when Trap City Rob decided to openly share his side of the truth. In the interview, Trap City Rob, who was in the company of fellow gang member Trap City Taro, maintained that Lil Jeff was the chain thief. He goes,
"He stole the chain, bro. We tried like he took it. He stole my own chain."
Whether or not there was any form of dialogue between the gangs, we may never know. However, what seems plausible is that they didn't discuss the matter because what came next following the beef was shocking. Allegedly on March 16th, 2023, the Trap City crew moved in on Lil Jeff's cousin, 21-year-old Zier Nelson, aka Z-Money. Z-Money was shot more than 20 times inside a vehicle, and his attackers did ensure that he had no chance of survival. For the Bloodhounds, this was an unacceptable situation. Z-Money was seen as one of their own, owing to the shared moments he had with the Bloodhounds and his connection to Lil Jeff. But before the Bloodhounds had decided on how to avenge the killing of one of their own, their rival was already another step ahead. Allegedly, Trap City orchestrated another attack on one of Lil Jeff's own, Q50. This time, however, Q50 didn't budge. Although the Bloodhounds group member was hit many times, he somehow survived. Following his recovery, the Bloodhounds needed to show their enemy who was boss, so they went on Instagram Live to rap about the unsuccessful shooting spree. While flexing their muscle on their ability to survive, the Bloodhounds hinted that the battle line had just been drawn. They also claimed a hit that happened around that time against Trap City. In the video, Q50 raps, "It shot me in my leg next month, I shot his throat." Lil Jeff then says, "They shot my cousin but ain't kill him for some weeks straight we was spinning, but the only difference is when she got caught, we killed him." In the clip, Lil Jeff and Q50 had boldly claimed the hit on 19-year-old Jaleel Goins, aka Trap City Leal. The young adult was gruesomely murdered while inside a rideshare on June 25th, 2023. This crime occurred in the 1300 block of West Taylor Street around 9 p.m. The 19-year-old had just entered into the car he ordered when tragedy struck. The driver, Robert Smith, witnessed the tragic attack as one man who had tailed the vehicle walked up and started to fire, fully targeting the passenger. The assailant aimed for the backseat window, and after spraying his victim with bullets, he fled on foot. Smith didn't wait for the shooter to finish firing. Before the last bullet rang in, he moved the vehicle to Rush University Medical Center. But sadly, Goins had no life in him when they arrived at the medical facility. While speaking about the ordeal to the Sun-Times, Smith maintained, "I tried to save him. I didn't care about traffic lights and speed cameras. I really wanted him to survive. I was praying for him the whole way there. When they took them out of the car, I was praying for the surgeons to do what they could do." The blood had barely dried on the body of Goins, while the community found it hard to accept such violence. But Lil Jeff saw it as the perfect time to diss his ops. In another one of his Instagram Live moments, Lil Jeff touts,
"Go ask my ops that might go Drake and saying get out that car."
While at it, Lil Jeff, who was driving in a car, waved his gun at the camera, showing that he was indeed the tough gun in the hood. Not long after that, Lil Jeff went further to disrespect his grieving ops. In the wake of Goins' murder, Trap City Taro took to Facebook to express his grief while paying tribute to the fallen hero. He shared a throwback image taken in 2020 with an accompanying caption that read, "I wish I could get it back." As soon as Lil Jeff noticed the post, he responded with a care emoji comment. This was unexpected and downright insulting because prior to that post, Lil Jeff had established his hate for the crew and how he was guilty of the murder. Lil Jeff must have thought that after all they killed his cousin, Z-Money, and had tried to kill his other cousin, Q50. So any way he chose to exact revenge was the best way. At the time, Lil Jeff's Instagram handle rained of different posts all directed at the deceased Goins and his ops. With each passing day, Lil Jeff tried to infer that he was unstoppable and had indeed committed the crime. On one occasion, the rapper subscribed to less talking and instead chose to play an actor. This time, he recreated the shooting scene and acted as the assailant who murdered Goins. Fake clips showed Lil Jeff in a gas station, and from the killer's end, he crept slowly behind the white car before eventually motioning to the back seat. Upon finding his target there, Lil Jeff begins to shoot incessantly while keeping a happy face. After the job has been completed, he moves away and begins to laugh at the camera. This was the first time anybody was having a close view of the crime, especially from the killer's point of view. Still, this well-detailed clip did nothing to attract the attention of the police. At best, it sparked outrage from some critics and fans who claimed that Lil Jeff was insensitive and gunning for trouble. Without any plans of letting their rivals have a dry eye, the Bloodhounds crew, particularly Lil Jeff and Q50, followed up with another attack. This was 2 months after Goins' death. The crew moved in on Trap City Glenn, who was shot 15 times. Not much is known about this attack, except that he survived it. However, this attack is similar to what was orchestrated against Q50, who also survived his shooting following the death of Z Money. As always, Q50 went public with the shooting, claiming that he had drenched Trap City Glenn with 10 bullets while Lil Jeff shot him 5 times. At this juncture, it looked like both crew had evened up with their crimes and hate for each other as the streets of Chicago experienced some peace and quiet. Meanwhile, Lil Jeff was busy beefing with the BKN, another rivalry which led to a double homicide of 2 teenagers. But amid the numerous murders, Lil Jeff had barely started. In fact, the rapper still remembered his beef with Trap City and he vowed to finish up what he started. So on June 8th, 2024, the fearless Lil Jeff led a few of his Bloodhound crew members into Trap City territory. Their plan was to find and kill Trap City Glenn, who had miraculously escaped the claws of death a few months ago. This shootout was in the neighborhood where Trap City Rob and his grandma lived. Some sources report that Glenn was chased down in yellow shorts while Lil Jeff tenaciously fired after him. However, this only led him into a vulnerable area as Trap City Rob was lurking by with plans to protect his hood, so he shot at Lil Jeff, sending him to the ground. Others believe that Trap City Rob was being shot at and he managed to kill the fearless Bloodhounds hitman. But whichever story is true, the fact remains that Lil Jeff had approached street life with the same ruthless streak as one of his greatest idols, King Von. Interestingly, both Von and Jeff's lives ended in similar circumstances as they confronted their ops. Lil Jeff idolized King Von. Like Lil Jeff, King Von was shot and killed on the streets of Atlanta, where he suffered multiple gunshot wounds. These two share a lot of similarities in the stories leading to their deaths, including how they handled their disses and the street fights they started. King Von signed to Lil Durk's OTF music family, and Gang died on November 6, 2020, after a fight broke out. At around 3 a.m., King Von, who had visited the Monaco Hookah Lounge in Atlanta, spotted Quando Rondo, his rival. These two had since had it in for each other, going against each other via diss tracks and Instagram Live. So on this day, King Von decided to set the record straight and show his rival who was boss. However, during the fight between the rappers and their groups, gunfire started to go off. On that day, about 4 people were shot, however. 2 managed to survive. The other 2, including King Von, died from bullet wounds. King Von was shot by Lul Tim, Quando Rondo's friend who came to his aid during the fight. That same friend was eventually acquitted on the grounds of self-defense. This was the same pattern employed in Lil Jeff's death. The Bloodhounds rapper had intended to show off his street credibility when he was gunned down in Trap City Rob's hood. Getting back to Von, YouTuber Trap Laura Ross once described him as a serial killer who never stayed mute about the number of bodies he took down. To King Von, this was a way of establishing himself as a demon and a feared killer. This wasn't any different from what Lil Jeff did during his lifetime. The 21-year-old rapper would often tout his horns on the number of people he had managed to send to their early graves. To him, it signified power and authority in the Chicago gang line. His modus operandi worked on ops and his fans. While Lil Jeff may have been feared among his contemporaries, he was also being compared to King Von, who was known for his killing spree. Online, fans compared the pair both musically and how they raved on about their bodies. Via a Reddit post, the poster shared a photo of Lil Jeff's tracks and how it had gained traffic in the amount of listeners following his death. They debated about his lyrical prowess and compared him to King Von. The caption read, "Could Bloodhound Lil Jeff be bigger than King Von after 2-3 years?" In response, one person wrote, "I don't think so. Von had fame before he died. BH Jeff didn't." Another added, "I'm gonna speak for everyone when I say this. Hell to the no. A third fan took the conversation to a whole new level. This fan spoke about their body counts. The commenter quipped, "Everybody loves to compare the two when it comes to bodies. Me personally, I believe Von put in the most work. The biggest comparison between the two is they're both dead. They both literally got bodied being the aggressor." Another fan maintained that Lil Jeff was quite the killer he made himself into. The person wrote, "Jeff was a perk sniffer who caught like 12 bodies in 3 years. The older I get, the more disturbed I am that these are real-life serial killers. They kill innocent people." One fan concluded that what made both Lil Jeff and King Von prolific killers was their lifestyle and drug consumption. The person added, "I feel like all these rappers do some kind of hard drugs, but Jeff was open enough to expose his publicly. I have to be honest though, if you read Von's autopsy report, you'll see Von was on 2 or 3 drugs different himself." The comparison between these two was later highlighted by streamer Trenches, who maintained that Lil Jeff did in fact idolize King Von and wanted to be like him. During his time on a DJ Vlad interview, Trenches shared,
"You said that Lil Jeff was trying to be like King Von."
Yeah, he was. He even said it himself on DJU. Like Vaughn said, it take 2 bodies. You gotta have 2 bodies to be in my school. I wouldn't, hey look, I'm telling you, I wouldn't want to be in Lil Jeff's school. Just go and look at the video of his him dying.
He went on to detail how tragedy befell Lil Jeff, who thought he was on his way to killing ops. Agreeing closely with Trenches on Lil Jeff's killing prowess was Trap Lore Ross. The British YouTuber told DJ Vlad that he believes Lil Jeff was in a way greater than King Von. Ross's argument was this.
In a lot of ways, he surpassed King Von. You know, he allegedly killed more people.
How many people did he allegedly kill?
He claims 11.
Some of Lil Jeff's notable killings included the murder of NLMB-TY weeks before his death, although the Bloodhounds were not headbutting with the NLMB gang. However, during an attack carried out in front of the Happy Liquor Food store at 7901 S Cottage Grove Avenue, a 36-year-old member of the NLMB was gunned down in a crossfire. Police later reported that the perpetrators of the crime were between ages 15 and 25. Another well-known killing affiliated with Lil Jeff was the killing of 19-year-old Jalael Goins, although the man who shot the young adult was never apprehended. Following the murder, Lil Jeff went on about how he was responsible for the crime, all in the name of dissing his ops. On one occasion, he even recreated the murder scene of the crime. But one of the killings that made Lil Jeff the most talked about in the entire Chicago was when he gunned down teenage boys of Innovations High School. The boys, Lil Monty and Rob, belonged to the BKN, and in the months that led to their deaths, they had taunted Lil Jeff for wearing fake chains after they had stolen it. In retaliation, Lil Jeff took the beef off the internet, and he joined 2 of the assailants involved in the double homicide of these teenagers. Although the police did not get a break in the case until a year after the murder, 2 of the assailants were arrested and charged based on the severity of their crimes. Some fans say that Lil Jeff, who was the 3rd shooter, never got to answer to his crimes, while others believe that his death was enough punishment for the crimes he orchestrated while alive. If you like this clip and would want to stay connected for first-hand info on what's trending, please click on the card showing on the screen.